confused by Earth's oil market. In the previous episode, we introduced the Federal Reserve economist.
Thanks for having me. I need to write something down. Can I borrow a pen? Do not lend him a pen. He has borrowing problems. No, as we learned in the last episode, I lend to the US government, not borrow. You'd know this if you took notes last episode. But you don't take notes, do you? You lack a pen.
In the previous episode, we learned how America clearly benefits by Saudi Arabia selling oil in US dollars. Why would Saudi Arabia agree to do this?
We made a secret deal with Saudi Arabia in 1974. Under this deal, they agreed to sell oil in dollars and to invest that money in US Treasuries. This is a problem for many reasons, but most of all because of the debt. And in return, we agreed to give them military protection, modernize their cities, and sell them weapons. This is a huge problem because of Saudi Arabia's human rights abuse. Maybe we sell guns to Saudis so we can give even better weapons to Israel.
What weapons?
Obama just did one of the biggest deals ever with them for $40 billion. We sold the Saudis 72 Blackhawks, 70 Apaches, 36 Little Birds, and a partridge in a pear tree. Ha!
I tried to research this 1974 deal, but found little. Why are there no recordings of leaders talking about it?
It was done under President Nixon, and at that point, he had enough of recordings. No, it was kept secret so that this way it looks like that it's the organic market that wants treasuries and dollars and that it's not some shady backroom political deal, which is what it was, so they did a good job at hiding it.
In the last episode, I learned that Federal Reserve can just print money and buy oil with it. This sounds like a ripoff. Can you explain again, what did the Saudis get out of it?
From the deal, Saudi Arabia got the protection of the US military. If we protect them with the US military, they're a colony in our empire. And it's ironic that we tax them by making them keep currency with pictures of men who rebelled against overseas empires. George Washington is a Saudi hero. I'm going to tax you without representation.
Yes, master.
King Faisal did it so he could stay in power. Too bad less than a year later, his nephew assassinated him.
Wait, so as soon as he agreed to trade oil for security, he was murdered?
Yeah, some job they did. They gave him the JFK special. This has nothing to do with America. He agreed to the deal prior to death. Well, it puts a whole new meaning to the phrase, signed in blood. He signed it. As the Islamic fundamentalist wrote, I agree. To in Christian God we trust. This is total conspiracy theory with zero proof. There were many benefits for the Saudis to actually agree. We modernized their cities. Oh yeah, how could they not want McDonald's in the Holy Land? The teacher goes, read verse 2, or in hell you'll fry. The student responds, huh? You want a number 2 with hella fries? Well, they got American contractors to build skyscrapers and whole new modern cities. The greedy capitalist corporations love this because they get to overcharge, and they got the deal because of a very persuasive sales team. We will shoot non-compliance. The problem isn't capitalism, but a lack of it. The Saudi government is buying the goods for their people, so the real market prices of Saudi Arabia can't work. In this bag right here is 100% pure American air. How much? Half your oil.
So why does this deal bother conservatives?
The biggest problem is that all of the oil sales are being invested in US Treasuries. This leaves us heavily indebted. No, we're fine. But can I borrow a pen? Why are you putting debt as higher on the list than violating human rights? Oh, they cut off people's heads. But can they cut taxes?
They abuse human rights? How do the Saudis stay in power?
Well, they stay in power because of religion. Ironically though, it's the Saudi government itself that bends religion to fit their political needs. So, what do you want to behead them? An example of them bending religion is that the Quran forbids charging interest. Aren't you glad they ignored that rule so they can buy treasuries? So if we want to default on the debt, we should just say we're even more religious than the fundamentalists. Pay the interest. I can't pay the interest. I found a law. You must pay the interest. I thought Islam was peace.
I don't understand. How does the money go through the Treasury?
Alright, I'm going to break down the flow of funds for you. First, a US company buys oil from Saudi Arabia, paying them in dollars. Those dollars then are used to buy US Treasuries. From the Treasury, the interest on those payments goes towards paying US companies to build in Saudi Arabia skyscrapers. This is called Petrodollar Recycling because the money comes back to America without ever changing currencies. Only Republicans could come up with a form of recycling that hurts the planet. You should stop complaining. This system benefits us. Well, politicians like it because it benefits us in the short term, so they can stay in power longer, which in this case was President Nixon's term. So not that long. I've created a system to stay in power forever. Actually, you've been impeached. I'm gonna apply to the NSA. They like recordings. But petrodollar recycling hurts us in the long term because we become dependent on it. Oh no, we're not dependent on it. According to recently released statistics from the Federal Reserve, Saudi Arabia owns far less treasuries than China or Japan. It's been proven that Saudi Arabia funded 9/11. So if Bush and Obama are going to allow that to happen, it's pretty safe to say we become dependent on them. Saudi Arabia is like an abusive sugar daddy. You let him hit you, girl. The only explanation I was given was that he's jealous of my freedom.
Unfortunately, we're out of time. But I want each of you to summarize your position.
Petrodollar recycling negotiated by the government is an excellent system because it encourages a strength in the US dollar as well as peace between America and Saudi Arabia. To summarize, I think this is a bad system because it encourages a large government debt, which encourages more spending. In addition, it steals from foreigners every time the Fed creates money. To summarize, I also dislike the current system because it encourages perpetual violence from the US military to enforce it. In addition, America financially supports as well as literally arms dictators who engage in human rights abuse.
In the next few episodes, we'll discuss how this affects America's trade deficit and drives the Syrian war. I beg you to share this video. Make sure to subscribe and I'll see you on the other side.